this is Chris from iPianoHack.com, the blog that hacks the piano learning process. Check it out online. Today I'm going to review a staple in my piano hacking arsenal, and that's pianomarvel.com. Piano Marvel is an app that's available on Windows, Mac, and iOS. It's a phenomenal app that effectively and efficiently teaches piano for beginner to advanced students. I'm going to run through the app and show the different features available. I'm not only a learner on this system, but I also distribute the promo code. So when you create an account, put in the promo code CHRIS, C-H-R-I-S, and after your first free month, you'll get $3 off the current $15.99 price. After you create an account, you'll be taken to this home screen that we're looking at right now. You'll note that there's the typical drop-down menus at the top. You can see options, instruments, how-to video, but then in the middle you'll see the library, sight reading, method, and technique blocks, and that's where the real magic happens. You'll notice under the options drop-down menu there's instrument settings, and that's where you want to make sure that your MIDI enabled piano is all set up. On the home screen here you have the practice minutes and day streak, and those are motivational and informational pieces. Gives you an idea of how much you've actually been practicing, and you can set the goal for the month. Usually I put 1200 to see if I can actually practice that much. And the day streak, again, it just shows you how often that you're playing. When you look at the main boxes though of method, library, sight reading, and technique, that's really where all of the work and magic happens. So when I click on method, you'll notice you have a method trophy case, and then you have the lessons. Now, I've been working on this for about 90 days now, and I've gotten into the third level, and I just finished the 3C trophy. Now you'll notice that there's stars and on top of gold pianos. And what that means is that when there's a star, it means that in each of the 20 songs or exercises that you do in each trophy, so for example in 1A there's 20 exercises and songs, if you get 100% on every one of those trophies or every one of those songs, then there's a star. If you get 96% or above on all of the exercises, then you get a gold piano, and then it goes silver. I'm not sure if there's anything lower than that, but I try to keep to the gold piano and above, and I try to get 100% as often as possible, but I'm not going to kill myself. If I can't get that 100%, I can always go back. So you'll notice in the 3C trophy, I've done some of the work already. And when you click on the first one, it comes up the F major scale. And so this is how it works. You'll notice down at the bottom here, though, there's a prepare, an assess, and a practice mode. And this is where it's very powerful in that when you're first starting, if it's something complicated, which this F major scale isn't, then you might want to break it down into more pieces. So for example, just to see how this works, if I go in and hit assess, we'll start doing the F major scale.
Go.
Now I didn't finish that and I made some mistakes in there, but you'll see the first bar going up the scale, it's all green, and going down the scale, it's all red. And then I didn't even finish it. But what happens at the end is it tells you your score, and you'll see the high score of 100, and then the last time I played it, I got a 95, and it's a silver piano. So for Shoe Fly, you can see here, this is more emblematic of how it works. There's a minced, a sliced, and a whole practice mode. And with minced, you see the RH and the LH. What you do is you go through each of these right hand first, playing it at the different speeds, then left hand at the different speeds, and then you do both hands, and you're doing just the 1 through 4, which is the first 4 measures, and you get that 100%, then you move on, and then you go to the second 4 measures, and then you play both measures or both phrases, and you work on the pieces systematically like that, and you get graded on how accurate you are, and there's no way for you to miss notes when you're playing. So if you had a piece of music in front of you that was just on a piece of paper, you don't necessarily know that you're making a mistake. It might not register in your ear that you hit a sharp or a flat and it shouldn't have been there. Whereas when you're being tested via this interactive program, it tells you right away if you hit the right note or you didn't. And the combination of the grading plus the mincing, the slicing, and then the going both hands really increases the ability to learn and to grow as a player very quickly. The second section is technique, and so the way that I practice is that I go through method, then I go through technique, and the technique are more scales and ear training, reading notes. So for example, they'll have this reading section that you go through, and again you can use the practice mode. Then there's the prepare mode, which it's not timed, and then what you do is you just hit the particular note, and it'll let you go to the next one when you've actually hit the right note, right? So it's a way to make sure that you know what the notes are before you go to the practice mode. You can see in the technique mode, I went to just section 1B in the very beginning, and in technique it works on scales and learning to play via ear and sight reading. It's not focusing on the songs, which is what the method is all about. The method introduces different techniques, but then it's also introducing songs that help accentuate those techniques, or the new things that you're learning. Might be a new scale, and the songs have that scale in it. Whereas with technique, it's more of drilling down on the actual, technique of playing, sight reading, ear training, making sure that you know your scales and arpeggios and chords and things like that. And then Sasser is really interesting in that this is where it tests your ability. So you can see my max Sasser, the sight reading score is 302. Now that's beginner. It says somewhere on the left you'll note here that an intermediate student is at about 473, and then the maximum score is 1900. But this is a good way to tell like where you are in the in your learning curve. The Sasser is a test in that you don't have any time to prepare, other than it gives you 30 seconds to look at what you're reading and playing, and then you just play. If you start as a beginner, you go to 1A and it'll have you play something very simple, and then it'll take a sample from 1B trophy, and as you get it right, you keep moving up the trophies, and when you get less than 80% correct, then you get a strike. After 3 strikes, the test is over, and then it gives you your final score. But this is a great training method for sight reading and really testing your ability to to read and play without any preparation. And then you have the library, which has tons of songs. And you'll note in the left side here, it's not showing any books or sheet music that I picked. There it is. So you'll see there's different things that you can work on in the library. So for example, the Moonlight Sonata, that's way too difficult, but I wanted to see what it looked like because I was listening to it the other day. And then you have major and minor scales. You have all sorts of workbooks that are free to use on the site. So there's Alfred's, but there's all sorts of songs too. A lot of the songs are more classically based rather than popular music, but there is some pop, but I'm not even worried about what the songs are. I'm just trying to learn to play. I know I saw like John Lennon Imagine, I think, is in there. Oh, there's all sorts of stuff. There's thousands of different songs and workbooks, and you could spend 3 lifetimes probably going through all of this material. And they grade it from 1 to 18. So C is for cookie, is level 1, and obviously they're probably just playing the C note with a little bit of rhythm. And it goes from 1 to 18, and 18 being 1,000 people on the planet can probably play it. Moonlight Sonata, I think is level 14. So you can see all the different pieces and practice material when you get into the library, and you can pull that stuff over into your library section so that you can quickly pull it up. If there's something you want to work on, like major and minor scales, you can also create books from the pieces that are in the library. So if you want to practice sight reading, you could pull some sight reading material and put it in a book and have it all together, and you could just work on that over time. There's also the ability to upload your own music via MIDI, but I haven't done that yet. You'll note that there's a report section at the top. So if you're a teacher or if you homeschool like I do, there's a way to document what's going on. But also, if you're a teacher, you can see what your students are doing. It gives very detailed reports on what the last thing the student is playing, how many minutes they're playing, all sorts of information. I think the main thing that makes the Piano Marvel really effective is the interactivity between the keyboard and the app itself. So you're getting real-time feedback on how you're doing, and it really helps you improve your learning very quickly. I couldn't be more pleased after 90 days how much I'm actually playing. I can play both hands. I'm playing Carol of the Bells, which is not particularly easy, especially when you couldn't play 90 days ago. I hope you liked this video, and I hope you enjoy using Piano Marvel.